Nerf gun attachments. Zombie.
What is going on, guys? This is Blee from Nerf Gun Attachments. And here today, as you can see, we're going to be doing a review on the new Nerf Zombie Strike Brainsaw Blaster.
I know you've already seen a bunch of reviews on this anyway, we're going to jump right in, alright? Let's do this unboxing.
Okay, in the box you have the main blaster itself, the chainsaw carry handle, just enough darts to fill up all the barrels, and the instruction booklet. First, let's go over the main functions and features of the blaster, starting from the outside. Then I'll go inside and talk about how it functions and how you can fire it. This is a blaster that is very reminiscent of the old Nerf Elite rough cut shotgun. It has the same 8 barrels, 2 sets of 4 barrels lined up right next to each other. Up here you have the main gimmick, which is a chainsaw, but only the end part moves. It's just like the crosscut. This part, somewhat disappointingly, is just hard plastic. It's just for show. It doesn't actually move. Here you have 4 of your firing barrels, and on the other side you have another 4 barrels. Right here is how you activate the end of the chainsaw. You pull it like a real chainsaw, or what really reminds me of a lawnmower. Down here is your pump grip, because this is a pump action spring powered blaster. And once again, we're going with that screwdriver aesthetic, which I actually find kind of cool. Moving back, there's nothing else really to talk about. It's very detailed. I like the detailing and the mix of colors. It looks very nice. Back here is your main handle with your firing trigger in there, and here's a nice looking hand guard. But whenever I see a hand guard on a Nerf blaster, I get kind of nervous because my hand is kind of large and it doesn't always fit inside of these things, just like with the crossfire bow. So the last feature of note is a single angle tactical rail. I don't think we've seen that too much from Nerf. We see it from the third-party guys. They make angled tactical rails, but that's kind of cool. And get ready to be disappointed if you didn't already notice, on the other side, it's mostly devoid of any kind of details or contrasting colors or patterns or designs or anything like that. Even the Zombie Strike or Nerf logos are absent from the other side. Most disappointingly, if you look on this side, you see the piece holding the chainsaw comes all the way over here. You have all this green plastic. It looks very nice, and it comes all the way out to the tip. Giggity. On the other side, there's nothing. That's very disappointing. I would have liked some symmetry. For one, I would have liked it to look exactly the same on the other side. I would have liked another angled tactical rail here, and I would have liked this piece to extend down to the end on both sides. But it's not the end of the world, so let's put hands on these things and see how it feels. And I'd like to report that my hand fits perfectly in here, and it has a very comfortable trigger as well. Hold it like this, feels good. Regular grip, feels great. Now, as far as the pump trigger goes, it is a little undersized, but it's pretty accurate to life for what a screwdriver is. It feels like a real screwdriver, so it is a little small, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be cramping your hand up if you have larger hands. And obviously for smaller hands, the handle and the pump grip will be amazingly excellent. So at the end of the day, these are marketed to 8-year-olds starting at 8 years and up, so you can't really complain too much about that. But this is very serviceable. I can use this. It's not too bad. Even with my gloves on, I get a good grip on here. Good. So that about does it for the external features of the blaster. Let's talk about how it functions. So you load up 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, any amount of the barrels here. You can load up any of them, and due to the smart air restrictor that resides in here, it will fire whichever barrel is loaded. So there's no dry firing or misfiring here. It's going to know which one is loaded, and it's going to fire that one first. If you load everyone, it's going to fire one at a time, I believe from left to right and from top to bottom. So you'll have 8 shots before you reload. You'll pump this 8 times and pull the trigger 8 times. Speaking of which, so you load it up, and then you pump back this pump handle, the screwdriver pump handle. You pull it back, push it all the way forward, and then you can pull the trigger, and you'll fire a single dart. This is noticeably different from the rough cut, which normal firing operation on the rough cut allowed you to fire 2 darts simultaneously. It would fire the left and the right, or any combination, because it had a very smart air restrictor as well. So I don't know how to feel about that. It's different, not necessarily worse. People said it was better for ammo conservation, perhaps, but I like to prefer the shotgun. I don't even feel like this is really a shotgun anymore. It looks kind of like one and kind of handles like one, but why couldn't we get the two darts at once? Why do they feel the need to switch it up? I was certain this was just a reshelled rough cut, and it mostly is, but they changed the firing mechanics, so I don't know how I feel about that. So to fire the sequential shots, you just pump this again and pull the trigger each time, and you'll go from left to right, from top to bottom, until all 8 shots are empty. So let's load this thing up and do a few firing shots. Wow, I did almost the whole review without talking about this. That's a fail, but
There's no going back.
now, so let's just do this. I think this is pretty permanent, so be sure you want to put it. It's not absolutely necessary, and the blaster's not heavy enough to need that handle. So if you like it without the handle, just rock out without the handle, guys. You don't have to install that thing. But just for everyone to know what they're doing, I'll pop it on in, and we'll see how it feels and how it looks with that on there. Just push it straight down in there. I think that's in. Yeah, that's in. Feels pretty good actually. My hand just barely fits in there. It's nice to hold it that way, but since you're gonna be pumping anyway, you're not really gonna be holding it like that. This was is more of a benefit on like a full auto or semi-auto flywheel blaster, because then you just keep your hand on here, you just rev and you fire. Maybe a heavier blaster, you don't really need this handle, although it does look cool and it goes towards the chainsaw aesthetic, because that's just how the handles on chainsaws are. It's cool, it's kind of weird, it's kind of silly. It fits the aesthetic real well, it looks really cool, but I don't think I'd ever use it, ever. So anyway, let's load this thing up and do some firing.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, I got it loaded up. This is about say about 15, 16 feet from here to the wall, so I'm not going to do a full firing test, or range test I should say. So let's just see what we got here. Bump. Wow, do I have a dud? I hate to be one of those guys that thinks he has a lemon, but this seems very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. It was having difficulty hitting the wall, which is only 15 feet away, and I did notice a drastic drop in power as I got to these lower barrels down here. So let's do some more shots here. Alright guys, so round 2 of my firing test. Hopefully it does a little better, because the first round was pretty underwhelming. Anyway, let's go. Wow. At this rate, guys, I don't think I'm even going to bother doing a range test on here. Definitely no range claims on the box, and kids, that's always a bad sign. When you buy a blaster and it doesn't have range claims,
Run.
you know it's not going to be too good. Alright, round 3 will be the slam fire round. I believe this has slam fire, yes? This is a terrible review, I should have mentioned that earlier. But I am fairly certain it has slam fire. Slam fire is when you just hold the trigger down and repeatedly pump the handle, the pump action grip. Just repeatedly pump that. So I'm going to hold the trigger down. I'm just going to cycle this pump handle back and forth. Let's see. definitely has slam fire. Definitely still lackluster performance on. Alright guys, it's time for my final thoughts and opinions on the Nerf Zombie Strike Brainsaw Blaster. How can I put this best? This is basically what Nerf did. They took the rough cut, banged on a cross cut on the front of it. Let's look at this. Let's line this up. I know I'm taking this gag too far, but let's line this up. Yeah, look at that. Exact length. This is exactly what they did. Take a rough cut, put a cross cut on the front of it. So, at the end of the day, you could choose between a rough cut or a brain saw. Choose the rough cut, baby. This is a rough cut. This is a rough cut on drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs.
Drugs are just bad, okay?
So as far as my final opinion on this blaster goes, I'm really digging the aesthetic. I love the look, especially on this side. This side, I wasn't part of that camp that got really pissed off when Nerf cheaped out on us and just gave us half a great design blaster and half just... They'll never see that. It's in the box. They'll never see that. Let's save our money. It's starting to get annoying though, guys, if I can be honest. I'm really starting to get tired of that. I want some symmetrical blasters, or even if it's not symmetrical, give me some kind of something over here, guys. Show me that you tried. If I want a design on one side, I want it on the other side too. I want my blaster to look good from every angle, okay? But as far as the gimmick goes, I told you guys earlier I was disappointed that the whole blaster wasn't moving. They could have easily put some toy chainsaw in here. Could have had the foam going all the way down. Made us pop in some batteries, which would have been a little annoying, but that would have been nice. As it is now, it still is fun. And being that the blaster is so long, you could do lunging melee jabs with this, but you might smack somebody with the plastic too, so... Or this part down here, which is all hard plastic, so I don't know about that. I find the gimmick very fun too. I love the gimmick. I like gimmicks. I'm a guy that likes the gimmicks, so these usually get me, and this is no different. It would be fun to run around and try to tag people with this. I know when I first started playing Gears of War, I used to just, in some rounds in the multiplayer, I just run around with my chainsaw, my Lancer, and I just try to chainsaw everybody. As to the performance of the blaster, there's no easy way to say it. It sucks. If you're not going to mod this, if you're not going to take it apart and try to improve on this blaster yourself, I don't know if it would be the best purchase, because I'm really disappointed in the performance. It is, I mean, my apartment is from the window to the wall is maybe about 20 feet, so I was standing a few feet up. It was having trouble hitting my wall at less than 20 feet. That's not a good sign. And sometimes when it got down to the last barrel, it was not hitting the wall. It was falling onto the floor just in front of the wall. So that's crazy. So do I recommend this blaster? No. And I usually recommend everything. I usually love everything that I get my hands on. Even if it has some cons, I still find the redeeming qualities. I don't recommend everything blindly. I tell you guys, if you like this, then you should probably buy this blaster. But guys, even if you love the way this blaster looks, don't buy it unless you're gonna mod it. And it's always mod at your own risk. You could break something or mess something up or whatever. You void your warranty. Nerf says no modding. So if you're not comfortable with that, then you might want to stay away from here. And at the price it's retailing for, you could definitely get a lot of other things that will have that performance and a cool look. It won't have a chainsaw, but it'll have a cool look and it'll have the performance to boot. So that's my final verdict. Looks extremely cool. Performance, not so much. That's it, guys, for this one. That's all she wrote, folks. If you'd like to see more reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I have a couple more reviews coming out soon on these new blasters, So stay tuned, guys, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. What is